Both Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder are former world heavyweight champions. Ruiz was WBO, WBA, and IBF champion, and Deontay Wilder, of course, was WBC champion. Ruiz has the better resume of the two. They both have wins over Luis Ortiz, but Ruiz also has a victory over Anthony Joshua. But I guess you could say they're on a similar level in terms of achievement. That's why it's so interesting to me that Ruiz is very keen on fighting Wilder, but Wilder, at least according to what his trainer has been saying of late, isn't so keen on fighting Ruiz. Wilder's trainer Malik Scott keeps talking about having Deontay face the likes of Usyk or Anthony Joshua, whereas Ruiz just seems dead set on Deontay Wilder. Again, these guys are in a similar position right now, both former world heavyweight champions. So why is only one of them keen on fighting the other? How come Deontay wants to look at the AJs and the Usyks of the world and isn't as keen to face Ruiz as Ruiz is keen to face him? I'm sure Ruiz would like a third fight of Anthony Joshua. He said so. I'm sure he would like to fight Tyson Fury. I'm sure he'd like to fight Usyk. But he's not desperate to jump into those fights without actually earning the position, without actually fighting somebody dangerous beforehand. He's willing to fight a Deontay Wilder before he gets a crack at a heavyweight title. What does that tell you about the mentality of Andy Ruiz versus the mentality of Deontay Wilder, and also the mentality of their handlers? Ruiz, I think, is managed by his dad. He's obviously a PBC fighter. I'm not sure how much, well, Al Heyman always has a lot of input, right? But does it vary from fighter to fighter? I'm not sure. To my knowledge, based upon what Andy Ruiz's dad has said, he's got one fight left with PBC, Andy Ruiz. I'm not sure if he's going to extend or what. So, yeah, what does it say about the team of Ruiz, their mentality versus the team of Wilder? Ruiz and his team keen on fighting Wilder. Wilder and his team apparently not so keen on fighting Ruiz. They must, as I explained in a previous video, as I reasoned in a previous video, they must see Andy Ruiz as a risk. Or else why would they just not go ahead and fight? The belts are probably going to be tied up for a while, unless Alexander Usyk gets stripped, and I'll do a separate video about that. But notwithstanding, the belts are going to be tied up. Anthony Joshua is looking to fight the winner of Dillian Whyte versus Franklin. So a fight with Wilder is not going to happen anytime soon, is it? Therefore, Wilder's just waiting around. But during this period where he's waiting around, he could be fighting Andy Ruiz, but instead, he's looking for a different direction to go in. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments section below. Again, just because a fighter isn't particularly keen on a fight, it doesn't mean he can't win that fight. It's like Tim Bradley when he was at 140 pounds. He had some kind of issue with his promoter, and he was champion at 140 pounds at the same time that Amir Khan was. But rather than fight Khan, didn't Tim Bradley vacate his belt or something like that? I remember he didn't go ahead with the Khan fight. And there's nothing else that you can call that other than a duck. Right? When a fighter avoids a perfectly good fight and he doesn't have a better alternative, and he isn't injured or anything like that, that's a duck. The question is, why did he duck? And again, just because somebody ducks a fight, it doesn't mean they can't actually beat the guy. Sometimes, in the Tim Bradley case, I genuinely think it was just down to his promotional or management situation, whatever it was. I think he would have fought Khan in a heartbeat if he hadn't had all that stuff going on. That's my personal opinion. But in some other cases, a fighter might not be keen on a fight at a particular time. Maybe they don't fancy it at the time. But a few years down the line, they see their opponent get beat a few times, maybe get knocked out, and then things change. They're like, you know what? I'll fight him now. Now's the right time. I mean, Canelo Alvarez, he avoided Gennady Golovkin, as far as I'm concerned, for several years. But he eventually fought him. Maybe he felt after watching Danny Jacobs have so much success that the timing was right. So that's how it goes when it comes to ducking and fighters avoiding sometimes. Will Deontay Wilder face Andy Ruiz? I certainly hope he does. But of course, time is not on Deontay Wilder's side. He is several years older than Ruiz. Ruiz, I think, is 33. Deontay Wilder, I think, must be 36 or 37. So he's a few years older than Andy Ruiz. Is that why he is not so willing to take this risk? Because if Ruiz loses, maybe he feels like he's still got a few years to come back. Whereas with Deontay Wilder, perhaps him and his team feel like this is literally the last throw of the dice. In which case, the only risks they're willing to take are for the biggest money with, if not the belts on the line, then an enormous purse, the likes of which he would expect against Anthony Joshua. Of course, that would be a non-title bout as it stands right now. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, as I said in a previous video about this fight, what you think about Wilder versus Ruiz in terms of who would win isn't relevant, in the sense that, there was somebody in my Element group who couldn't understand, because from their perspective, Wilder would obliterate Ruiz, right? But that's a fan thinking. That's from a fan's mindset. You have to try and put your mind, you have to try and put yourself in the mindset of a manager. Okay, managers are employed to weigh up the risks. So it's not like a fan's mind. A manager is going to be more cautious than a fan in terms of the bouts he puts his fighter in. Managers have to think about worst case scenarios. So while a manager might think, yeah, my guy beats Ruiz, he's also weighing up what is the risk factor here? Like, what percentage, what chance would I give Andy Ruiz of winning? 30%, 35, 40? I'm talking hypothetically here, right? If I'm thinking as Wilder's manager, what percentage chance is he giving Ruiz a victory? Maybe whatever percentage it is above their level of risk tolerance, right? Let's say in their mind, Ruiz has a 35 or 40% chance of victory over Wilder. They're not interested in that when they're weighing it up against the kind of money they'll get for the Andy Ruiz fight. They might think that AJ's got a similar chance, or Usyk's got a similar chance against Wilder, or maybe a better chance. But the reward is so much greater. So they're willing to take those risks. Whereas with Andy Ruiz, it's like, yeah, my guy can beat him, but the risk ain't worth it. So you let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and it's 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.